Our guest joining us this morning for the news review segment is Dr. Asah-Asante, his head Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, as well as Dr. Jibril Mohammed. He's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. But let me start with Dr. Asah-Asante. Good morning, Doc. Welcome to the AM show.
Good morning, City, and good morning to Ben, as well as viewers.
Good morning, Doc.
Well, Doc, you know how we do it on the show. You have about 2 minutes to walk us through any reflections you may have on any topical issue that you want to reflect on.
Yeah, today I want to look at more often than not, when we are in economic difficulty, we seek support from the Bretton Woods institution, particularly IMF. And we know the conditions that are attached to such resources. It has not been easy for this country. And searching through my mind, I ask myself, can't we have a way out to this problem? And that is why I want to discuss this. Is it not possible for our government to look around the universities, the think tanks, and then professionals, and then assemble people based on their special areas? Take, for instance, we have a crop of scholars in the area of economics, say 50 or 100, and so is political science, medicine, and all that around, particularly those who draw from the state purse. That look, you will be a standby group that when we are in difficulty, will come to you as a last resort. Is it not feasible? And I believe that these people, little resource you give to them, when we're in difficulty, they can come in and support us to turn things around. Because I ask myself, what is it that the IMF provide for us in terms of ideas that our economists, financial experts cannot do here if you tax them and you give them the needed resources? So I think moving away, Ghana beyond IMF, I believe that this is a way to go. We can do it, and yes, we can.
Well, thank you so much, Doc. I'm not sure if we have Dr. Jibril Mohammed with us yet, so let's get straight into the newspapers. I have a couple of them. Let me start with the News Center, really. On the front page, former Ethiopian PM urges African nations to prioritize trade growth. Dr. Bawumia cannot be faulted for NPP's 2024 election loss. That is according to Adwoa Safo. 11% inflation target in 2025, budget doubtful, according to ISE. Finance Minister touts cedi stability against the US dollar. That happened in Parliament yesterday. We'll get into the story in a moment. Urgent solutions needed to avert looming food crisis in Ghana, according to GAU. And 661 million Ghana cedi judgment debt to benefit who? That was allocated in the 2025 budget. It's unclear exactly who we are paying this amount to. An IEA Lord's proposed review of Fiscal Responsibility Act. I want to start from the story of what Adwoa Safo has been saying, which I found very interesting. She says, and that story is actually on page 3 of the News Center. Former Member of Parliament for Domi-Kwabinya, Adwoa Safo, has strongly defended Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, asserting that he cannot be held responsible for the New Patriotic Party's defeat in the 2024 general election. And I want to skip to some of the things that I think are very controversial. She says, on the e-levy controversy and her decision to abstain, she says that she abstained from the voting on the controversial e-levy bill and explained that her stance was guided by the concerns of her constituents, particularly members of a church in the Domi-Kwabinya constituency who feared the levy would impose financial hardship on them. So she abstained. The question is, so who did we see in Parliament look like Adwoa Safo who voted? That's a question we can throw to the gods. Doc, let me add just one more story to it before I come to you. Mahama charges new Director General of Prisons to make prisons true centers of reformation. President John Dramani Mahama on Monday sworn into office Deputy Director General of Prisons, Patience Bafo Boni, as Director General of the Ghana Prison Service with a charge to transform prisons into true centers of reformation. And the president made the appointment of Mrs. Bafoboni in consultation with the Council of State, while that of DCFO in Sapong and DCI Amadu confirmations await approval for their respective governing bodies. Doc, let's start from here. So Adwoa Safo says we cannot blame Dr. Bawumia, and she was not present in Parliament to vote for the e-levy bill. And President John Dramani Mahama is charging the new DG for prisons to make prisons true centers of reformation. Quick thoughts on that?
I'll start with Adwoa Safo's issue. Very interesting account because we're made to know that she voted on the D-Day. So this comes in as a surprise to me and many people in this country. But we wait for Parliament to set the record straight, since Parliament is a house of records. But back to the issue of Dr. Bawumia not being part of the defeat, I disagree with respect to Madam. Because if you look at Dr. Bawumia's own utterances, hitherto, the elections, that he would do a whole lot if they are giving the mandate. And then he had opportunity to do it with his president, and he failed to do that. That was a big indictment on him. His attitude towards certain things didn't also help him. Take, for instance, the way he comported himself as a Muslim or carried himself as a Muslim throughout this country, and then went on visiting shrines and all that as a Muslim was, to the least,
shrines?
Not the best for Muslims. That was also a factor. Quite apart from that, for Dr. Bawumia also running away from responsibility when the economy was in crisis. Meanwhile, he is the one that the president has touted as the economic messiah. And when the need arose, we couldn't see the vice president. He was somewhere else doing other things. For me, that was very, very, very critical. So it contributed to the defeat of the NPP. But that is not to say that that was all there is to it. Other factors such as the economy and the president himself own posture and attitude were part of it. But that said, let me look at the issue of the prisons being a center for proper reforms and all that. That is what ought to be. But is that what we are seeing? If that is not the case, then we need to step up our game and do something so that people who go in and come out will become the best for society, not nuisance to society. And the society is also ready to accept them and integrate them into the process to make a better society. But beyond that, we should also take a cue from countries such as Burkina Faso, where they are making the best and then making use of the prisoners to cultivate arable lands for production of agriculture. It will also improve their health and all that when they get busy on the field and all that. Why are we not taking advantage of this? And then making use that the inmates also work on the field in addition to any other human being that the government believe that they can also be on the field. Let us all, get the take off our shirts and then, turn our backs 90 degrees to the sun and work. This is the time that we need to work and redeem ourselves from the shackles and tentacles of neocolonialism and build a society we can call our own.
Doc, I must have missed something. You said Dr. Bawumia went to the shrine? I didn't see that.
Oh, I saw that in Ningwa areas.
Okay.
It was there. I saw the videos were out there.
Well,
they perform right while you were seated. It's clear. If you want to find Shiji, you will find that.
Okay.
And Muslims, I'm not a Muslim, but
Yeah.
I'm very close to Muslims. And these are things that they were not happy with. I mean, there's nothing wrong that when, you go to a constituency, you want to talk there are shrines, you can talk outside. But for a Muslim to go to such places, talk to Muslims, and they will realize they were very, very uncomfortable. And for me, that was one of the things that also contributed. But more was on the issue of economy, where he was supposed to help when we needed him most. He was far away from the action spot.
Okay. Well, I mean, Adwoa Safo is saying that it's the neglect of the party's grassroots in the Ashanti region. That was a key factor, according to her. But let me add two more stories from the news center. It says Finance Minister touts cedi stability against the US dollar. And Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Latofo has announced that the Ghanaian cedi has remained stable against the US dollar since February 19th, 2025 on the interbank forex market. And he says that as of March 14, 2025, the exchange rate stood at 15.53 to a dollar, reflecting a depreciation of 5.3% improvement compared to the 5.7% depreciation recorded last year. And last thing I want to add, after urges removal of non-tariff barriers to empower women and youth, the African Continental Free Trade Area Coordination Office has called for the urgent removal of non-tariff and some technical trade barriers to unlock the full potential of the AFTA, particularly for women and youth-led businesses. Draw quick reflections on these, and we'll go to other stories.
I think there's something that I want to look at, the issue of judgment debt. Yes, you touch on. Can we touch on that?
Yes, but Doc, I'm sorry. I understand Dr. Jibril Mohammed is with us now. Let me just usher him and welcome him. Doc, thank you for joining the conversation. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Sweetie. How are you?
I'm fabulous. I hope you.
To all our listeners.
Right.
I think I have been behind the scenes when all the stories were being told.
Okay.
Honestly speaking, I think I will take the last one. I don't want to go back to the other ones too much.
It's okay. Go ahead.
So critically, I know the city is really appreciating, but in recent times, we have also seen a slow depreciation in the rate of the city. I think that the managers of the economy are putting in their best to ensure that they stabilize the city. And that is what businesses and we as individuals are looking for. We do not want to see the city falling as much as we saw in 2022 and even in 2023. We want to see stability in the city. If the city is well stabilized, you will notice that businesses can prosper and they can plan as well. If you don't have a stable currency, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to do a lot of planning. So I think that work must be done to ensure that we have good stability in terms of the city. And when that is done, we can see improvement in our standard of living because cost of living is going to be low as a result of lower depreciation rate. Another important thing we have to note is the AFTA. The AFTA is a very important trade connection between countries. So if you see people coming out to fight for some tariffs reliefs and other things, it is extremely essential that we do that. It is only when we are able to break these barriers that we can have cross-border trading more efficient manner. If these barriers are not broken, then we are going to have a challenge with cross-border trading, and that is going to store the effectiveness of the AFTA. So the AFTA can only work and work efficiently if we are able to remove the barriers that hinder our trade-related activities. Can you imagine that you want to send something to Burkina Faso or to Nigeria, then there is going to be a tariff barrier when we have agreed that we are coming together as a continental trade. So continental trade means that you need to remove restrictions. You need to ensure that there is efficiency in your trade-related activities so that there is a flow of funds from one point to another. And recently, I think MTN came out with cross-border transfer of money using the app from Ghana to Nigeria. That is going to facilitate trade, and it's going to improve the flow of funds from Ghana to Nigeria, and it's going to reduce the quantum of, even if we are going to be using dollars and other things to trade. Now you can trade in your local currencies, and this is the kind of innovation that we are looking for. If we are able to do this across Africa, where you can easily use your local currency and trade with another country local currency, then it means that we are on our way to ensuring that we have African renaissance, we have a resilience in terms of Africa, we have African self-reliance, etc. So this is a way to promote Pan-Africanism.
Right.
And we have to ensure that we work efficiently to get that thing done. Lastly, on Dr. Bawumia, as you know, his defeat was as a result of his own challenges. Economically, the country was not doing well, and he touted himself to be an economic messiah. Meanwhile, he did nothing to solve the problems of the country. He engaged in certain things that did not inure to the benefit of the party, and also did not inure to the benefit of the general people of Ghana. You remember leading up to the 2016 general election, he said a lot of things. He said that he has all the knowledge to be able to solve the economic problems of Ghana. Meanwhile, when the opportunity was given to him, he did nothing. He rather sent us to a very serious debt conundrum. He sent us to a very higher depreciation rate, a higher unemployment rate, a higher every economic aspect of the country, to the extent that our central bank went to debt, to the extent that our trade balances, everything was in negatives, etc. The economy was in such a bad state. So you cannot float such a candidate and anticipate that such a candidate is going to give you victory. The only thing he can give you is to give you a massive defeat. And that is how come that we received that kind of defeat that he had.
Right.
And you cannot disassociate him from the defeat. He was largely involved. All the activities he was doing, as a Muslim, what he did was not right. To go to the church and expect that people, they baptize you and all of that. You can visit them. Nothing is wrong with that. But you cannot go there and be receiving baptism and other kind of stuffs, and you call yourself a true Muslim. I mean, the Muslims will not be happy with you, and they will not vote for you because you are not being upright.
Well, thank you so much, Doc. But Dr. Asah-Asante, you wanted to reflect on these two stories about the CD, the finance minister touting a CD stability, and after urging us to remove non-tariff barriers to empower youth and women-led businesses. Quick thoughts on that.
Yeah, we need stability in our currency so as to be able to undertake effective business. Anytime we go down, we have problems on the entire economy. So we'll urge the new minister to be able to see where we went wrong so that you can correct them and then we don't repeat the mistakes. More often than not, we tend to criticize previous government only to come and do the same thing. I believe that now they will have a paradigm shift and then do the needful by building the foundation of the economy to be robust so that we can all go home and sleep.
Thank you so much. Ben, your paper.
Dr. Mohammed Jabir, I'd like to just start from here. You say that the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, didn't contribute anything positive to our economy. I mean, we all know that we were in dire straits, but is that a fair comment to pass, especially pre-2020 thereabouts? Is it fair to put the entire bulk of the economy and its management on the shoulders of one man, especially when he wasn't finance minister? What do you think? Just a quick thought on that.
Well, he was not the finance minister, but he was the economic management committee. He was the economic management committee chair. So if he was the chair, then the economy rests in his shoulders. If the economy had performed very well, he would have taken the credit. So if the economy performed badly, you have to be honorable to take the credit. That is how come that he's called His Excellency. To be called Your Excellency simply means that you have to be honorable. It's just a replacement of the word honorable. And you are given His Excellency. So you should take every good leader should take a blame and every good leader should take a credit. So if the economy was terrible, then it means that he has the knowledge to be able to fix it. All the economic ideas and everything was passing through him. Was it not coming to cabinet? Was it not coming to this? Wouldn't he have given a fair advice of what to do and what not to do? So if he had the opportunity to do that and he failed to do it, then he should be taking the blame. We should not take only the blame to the finance minister. Though the finance minister was also involved, but he was also critically involved in the governance and the affairs of the country. So you cannot isolate him for not performing well and you say that he did not perform well, and for that matter, the finance minister is the one responsible for everything. If there was good figures, he would tax it. Before 2020, we had good growth. They were touting themselves to be doing very well. You remember he organized a program and said that they have the men. And he shouted and mentioned so many people's names and said that this person, that Jan Bafo, Akuto Osai, Keno Foriata, etc. He mentioned all kinds of names. And he said that they have a solid team. So if you have a solid team and the solid team is performing abysmally, you have to admit that you yourself, you are not solid.
Right.
It means that the economy was not really good because of you.
Right.
So just admit it.
Should we say by extension, and I slightly disagree from the standpoint of the economic management team, it's convention that the vice president heads it. It doesn't mean the vice president must be a know-it-all on the economy. The problem, however, is what you've said, where the former president will say, Bawumia, and those kinds of things, the economic wastegate, those were the problems attached to him. But I'm situating it from the context. You know, the minority now, in terms of the budget, they say that in the debate in Parliament, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, should also be there. And that is how people are stretching it. Bawumia's case was peculiar. A Vice President heading the economic management team must not necessarily be an economist, maybe not even be essentially economic savvy. The person just heads it, just like the police council with the Vice President. Don't you agree?
I do agree in an extent, but the fact of the matter is that is why the vice president have economic advisors. So it does not necessarily mean that she herself has to come and stand in the box and make an argument. She can come with her advisors, and her advisors will answer all questions related to the economy. She doesn't have to do that. But, you know, any decision that is going to be made, the advisors are going to give her a clear view of what is supposed to happen. And so she takes her decision based on what advisors give her. We cannot, John Mahama was not an economist, but when he was the chairman of the economic management team, he could report that he did ABCD, right? And he still says that, and his people says that they tout him for doing well when he was not even an economist. And if you were to be an economist and you are put over there, at least you should have a significant progress. We had a good progress 2017 to 2019. And why is it that for that one, he didn't run away for saying that he was a chairman of the economic management team? And why is it that when something bad happened, he ran away and said that, after all, being an economic chairman does not necessarily mean that you are the one in charge of the economy. So let us not run away from responsibility and always say that in terms of politics, we always argue that when it is good, we attribute it to ourselves. When it is bad, we run away from it. That is a bad leadership. And I think, in my candid opinion, it's not the right thing to do.
Gentlemen, just give me 1 minute before I get into the papers. I'll start with you, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. Friday, the 21st, is International Day of Forests. I'm very passionate about it. Yesterday, I met two environmental activists, one from the US, one from right here in Ghana. And around the same time, Parliament was due to look into the issue of LI 2462, right? And to their chagrin, it did not pass because of some of the concerns raised by the minority, the pre-laying, Bernard Ahia for saying the committee will have some 3 days to look into it, and then after which, if it's not done, they will proceed. But the interesting point there for me, the attempt by the majority to create a situation where the president cannot grant licenses in forest reserves, and the minority saying no, we don't subscribe to that. How do you react to it? Because those environmentalists I was sitting with, they felt that should be the natural course, that we must maybe take away these powers so that presidents can come and say, oh, go into forest reserves. But the minority said no. What is your take on that? I'll start with you, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. Brief thoughts.
I think I'll commend the party, the NPP, the NDC government, for that bold step. They promised us that when given the mandate, they will work around it. And we are seeing exactly that. The differences is to be expected in Parliament. But at the end of the day, what I look forward to seeing is that they will all galvanize support to kick away that ugly law so that nobody goes into mining in that area. That is, for me, that is more important. But I know that even push come to shove, they will go with numbers and NDC will carry the day. So what the NDC have in mind as something that they're going to work with, I know will reign supreme at the end of the day. But I want them to take the conversation further after the repeal of this existing ally. We want to see action on the forest, on our water bodies, so that we deal with this problem. It's becoming, a headache for us. So the earlier they dealt with this, the better.
Right. Dr. Jabir Mohammed, quick thoughts.
Yeah, responsible governance is very important. And I will commend the majority for taking that bold decision. If you look at countries like Sweden, families have forests where they even sell, in terms of the wood, they also sell the sell carbon credit to companies that want to buy it. And I think that forest reserves are meant for ecological support to the country and even to our existence of living. If you look at the SDGs, life on land, I think SDG 15 is very critical on that. And in my candid opinion, I think that our forest reserves should not be a place to go. Imagine that we destroy all the forests mainly just for gold. What is it going to happen to our wood industry? We have to roof our houses, we have to do other things, and we need timber. We cannot fall all of that just for few individuals to benefit. The existence of the forest makes everybody to benefit. In recent times, you realize that the sun is very hot. It's because of these distractions that will cause to our ozone layer, will cause to our forest reserves and all of that.
Right.
And I think that a law that bans any future president from going there, they should even make it an entrenched law so that it will prevent any future irresponsible president to go there to destroy our forests. I think it has to be done, and it has to be done properly.
All right. The Daily Graphic now. Agric budget too small for impact. CEO asserts at PricewaterhouseCoopers post-budget forum. Then there's 2025 budget inspires hope. That's according to the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISA. Then GCB launches MSE Group loans. On the back page, NADMO supports Laboni SHS after fire incident. The Ghana National Fire Service suspects electrical cause, and Assemblies of God retired ministers' spouses undergo free health screening. It's interesting, this story about the Laboni fire, because the president has recently lamented the number of fires in the country. I believe over 6,000 he was pointing to. I'll get those details. But the National Disaster Management Organization has donated relief items to Laboni Senior High School following a fire that gutted 3 girls' dormitories of the school last Sunday. The donation, made in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, is to provide immediate comfort to the displaced students and support the rebuilding of the damaged dormitories. The items included 300 pieces of mattresses, 350 pieces of plastic buckets, 350 pieces of plastic plates and cups, and it goes on and on. But how do we cure this incidence of fires every now and then, which the president himself has had to lament about? Then the Chief Executive Officer of Agri-Impact Group, Daniel Akwe, has stated that the budget allocation to agriculture is inadequate for driving national economic transformation. He said with only 1.5 billion Ghana cedis, approximately 100 million allocated to agriculture out of the 279 billion Ghana cedi national budget, the sector received just 0.54% of the total government spending. Then let me just add page 13, and then we can make tracks. 2025 budget inspires hope, according to ISA. So tax reliefs provided for in the 2025 budget inspire hope to help reduce hardships on citizens and ease the high cost of doing business, the Institute of Statistical, Social, Economic Research of the University of Ghana has said. And it says the 2025 budget was very ambitious with several tax reliefs to cushion taxpayers. Quick reflections on these stories. Gentlemen, I'll start with you, Dr. Asah-Asante.
I'll look at the agric budget, the budget that was the money earmarked for agricultural purposes. If the experts are saying it too small, I think, I don't know, that they can add something to it. Because you see, I would have wished that the country will put in, the government will put in a lot under agriculture, because that is the way we can begin and begin well. look at the large army of unemployed youth that we can engage in the fields of agriculture. So we put in more, we get more. And that will support not only to deal with what the, the looming food crisis, but also create jobs for us. And then it will also support industry for us too. Issue of the economy inspiring hope. Yes, if the experts are saying this, who are we to challenge that? But we want to see that hope reflecting in our pocket, reflecting in our lives, that improve our lot, so that we can say that they are not just mere figures, but they are realities on the ground. We want to see economy where people from school will have something to work on, so that they will not go to other jurisdiction and then, display their passport that, yeah, they've arrived and they have a beautiful passport, it's better than Ghana's and all that. Those countries sat down and built their own. Let us also build here so that our people will be attracted to here and then work and support the cause of what? The country. Issue of Laboni fires, very unfortunate. And we have seen a lot of stories relative to what? Fires in this country. I don't know what is happening. And very often we go into this report that are generated out of this thrown away. We don't see the effect of the reports on that, and we keep on having this. You ask yourself, those public places, do they have fire extinguishers? Do they have all the needed apparatus to deal with some of these problems? I don't know, but it's becoming one too many. So we'll urge the government to find lasting solution, because we cannot be lucky all the time.
All right, Dr. Mohammed, quick thoughts.
Okay, I'll start with agriculture. The agricultural value chain is a wide one, from production to distribution to the final consumer. Agribusiness is very important. And I think that what has been cited, I don't know whether it's the entire budget of the agricultural sector or it's just for agribusiness, part of it. I haven't been able to clearly look at the budget, but I believe that it is about looking at it from...
Well, it's 1.5 billion Ghana cedis for agriculture. I also had my concerns about it, but I believe this should be the total sum.
2.5 billion or 1.5?
It's 1.5 billion over here.
So that is even lower than the Office of the Government Machinery budget. Food is very essential to all of us, and promoting our cultural activities can help us to stimulate the economy and ensure that we have growth. I think that maybe there are other sources that the cultural sector can source funds from. So, for instance, the Presidential Special Initiative on Agribusiness is one component of it. And you notice that agribusiness has also been taken to the Ministry of Trade and Industry. That is another element of it. So the Office of the Government Machinery can allocate some budget to support the agribusiness aspects. And so I think that it's not too small. It's about how you utilize the funds.
Right.
If you're able to utilize the funds and utilize it efficiently, and you have your projections of growth right, then you should have the outcome. Right. Remember that we are more interested in efficiency of utilization of the funds, not just about the funds that is allocated to you. Another issue I think I want to touch is about whether the budget inspires hope or not. Yes, it does inspire hope, but we believe that it should reflect in the lives of the people, it should reflect in the profit margins of businesses, and it should reflect in creating jobs and prosperity among the youth when they come out of school. We do not want to run a budget and at the end of the day, just few people become rich and the rest of us become poor and poorer. Right. We want to run a budget that is more distributional in nature and that is more impactful rather than just for a few people to benefit. Now, if you look at the fire incident, we need to critically look at the way we wire our place, our houses. Electrical wiring is very important. I don't know what may have triggered the effect of the fire, but we need to ensure that we investigate and ensure that we implement the reports being reported. Every time and every now and then, reports of fire incidents are being reported. What is really actually causing it? And we have done a lot of plethora of committees have worked on reports. The problem about Africa and even Ghana is that it's our implementation. We come out with all the beautiful research, all the beautiful work output, yet implementation becomes highly porous.
Right.
So if we don't implement our policies very well, we cannot have the full benefit of it.
And like I was intimating, I found the story. It's on myjoyonline.com, I believe. And the president stated that last year there were 6,436 cases of fires documented. And he was urging the acting chief fire officer of the Ghana National Fire Service to strictly implement fire safety regulations and enhance public education on fire prevention and response. And that means all of us must get involved. Some quick international stories, and then I'll wrap with the rest of my papers very briefly. Dutch king highlights human rights during state visit to Kenya, and I'm talking about King Willem Alexander in Nairobi. He said, quote, "The people of Kenya, like those of the Netherlands, want their rights as free citizens to be respected and their voices heard." Of course, it's on the back of some mounting allegations of human rights abuses in Kenya. Strike on markets in North Mali kills 18. Trump, Putin discuss Ukraine war, talks going well, and we've heard some news on that on the international front. And Poland, Baltic nations plan to withdraw from landmine convention. The Ghanaian Times regurgitates some of the stories we've done. 2025 budget inspirational, according to Issa. Make prisons transformative centers, president to new prisons boss. Acquisition of Ghana Bauxite Company Limited by OPLC followed due diligence. That's according to the GBCL. But a story that interests me, one from the Ghanaian Times, one from the Accra Times, and I'm done. Ghana records annual shortfall of 330,000 units of blood. That's according to the National Blood Service. Every year, we have problems with this for a while now. I donate every year, a number of times every year, but the shortfalls mean that sometimes you would have some deaths that could be avoided because you go to some of these, especially, I wouldn't say especially the public ones, but all of them, and sometimes you don't have blood, and without that, it becomes a serious problem. Soldier, 4 others shot dead in Boku, Nanumba. And the Accra Times, 24-hour economy policy. NDC, NPP MPs express opinions after policy advisors' presentation. I don't know whether you followed that, but I take your quick thoughts. So I want you to focus on the blood, shortage of blood, 330,000 pints, units of blood. Soldier, 4 others shot dead in Boku, and 24-hour economy. Quick thoughts. I'll start with you this time, Dr. Mohammed.
Yeah, the blood, I think we need to put in strategic measures to ensure that we increase the blood bank. We have to intensify education and tell people that it is important to donate. Myself, I have donated once in my life, and I haven't done so since then. I think that our health is very important. We can use our educational institutions. The Ghana Health Service should intensify education. We can use all our universities, yes, in particular. Most of the workplaces that have a lot of workers, we can encourage them to donate and all of that. And there should be incentives to people who donate. I should not donate blood when I'm coming to look for blood and I'll be made to pay for it. We need to create such incentives. If the person donates blood, there should be a system. You put the person name there. If the person family member needs blood or something like that, then you can refer to it. And if the person needs, let's say, 6 bottles of blood, you give if the person donated about 2 or 3, you subtract that 2 or 3 and sell the other ones to the person. It should not just be like, I come and donate and that is it. Right. When I need it, I have to go and buy. It doesn't encourage people to donate.
Right.
Another important thing I want to talk about is the 24-hour economy. I did not fully follow it, but I saw some synopsis of it. I saw that they wanted to make a regulation in terms of the tariffs structure, time of the day use. It means that we have peak season and we have off seasons in terms of power tariff structure. Right. So in terms of peak season, where a lot of people are using the power, the cost has to go up. In terms of lean season, people are using it less, so costs have to be down. So they want to encourage people to produce in such period so that they can give them a low tariff structure. You and I know very well that the power sector is already in crisis. So they are saying that they are putting in legislation to ensure that they stabilize the sector.
Okay.
And there are other areas that strategic measures are being put in place to ensure that the program is fully rolled out. Okay. I do hope that if they are able to do everything and do it well, we will have things working efficiently.
All right, we're out of time. Let me give a bite to Dr. Asah-Asante, and then it's a wrap. Doc?
Yeah, I'll look at the blood shortage and matters arising.
Right.
It is a critical component in health delivery. So if there are shortfalls, I think authorities know what to do.
Right.
And they should do it without wasting time. The issue of the shooting incident in Boku, it's a sorry story. We want peace there, but I'm happy that this government is putting in its all to be able to address this issue. But we as a society must support government in this endeavor.
Thank you, gentlemen. Salim Fit says, good morning, AM show on Joy News. It is the birthday of Hubert Awanu in the Eastern region, and I'm wishing him a happy birthday and all the best. You sent that on our show, so a very happy birthday to you, Hubert Awanu in the Eastern region. Sweetie.
Yes, we're wrapping, but I do want to leave you with these headlines and maybe wrap on a lighter note. The custodian upon Kroma exposes NDC's massive discrimination as Mama gives 10% pay rise to public sector workers and over 720% salary increase for presidential staffers. Mahama's official X account hacked. Bawumia cannot be blamed for NPP's defeat. But in the Ghanaian publisher, Bauxite Company defends OPCL acquisition process, rejects all allegations. The story I want us to end on is Gobe, affordable Ghanaian meal turned pricey dish under media influence. What do you make of this? So now, Gobe used to be 5-7 cedis. It's selling for 20 and 40 cedis, depending on where you're buying it from. I think this is a delicacy that we should, re-examine how much we're selling it for. But thank you all so much for joining us. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, Head, Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Dr. Jibril Mohammed, Senior Lecturer, University of Ghana Business School. Thank you. Muftan Abdullah serves as AM Sports Now.